Hello, you're watching movie Snapshot scenes, and this is the summary of The Lord of the Rings, The Fellowship of the Ring. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel. The journey begins. In the peaceful and green land of the Shire, life moves slowly, untouched by the troubles of the wider world. Hobbits are simple folk, uninterested in adventures or danger. But on one fateful day, the course of history begins to change. Bilbo Baggins, an old and peculiar hobbit, prepares for his grand departure. At his farewell party, he vanishes into thin air, using a magic ring he has secretly possessed for years. But this is no ordinary ring. It is the One Ring, forged by the Dark Lord Sauron himself, capable of enslaving all of Middle-earth. Bilbo leaves the ring behind for his young nephew, Frodo Baggins, who unknowingly inherits a terrible burden. The wizard Gandalf the Grey, a longtime friend of the Baggins family, soon discovers the truth. This is the weapon of the enemy, and Sauron's forces are searching for it. If the ring falls into the Dark Lord's hands, all hope will be lost. Gandalf urges Frodo to leave the Shire immediately and take the ring far from danger. Frodo does not embark on this journey alone. His loyal gardener, Samwise Gamgee, insists on coming along, and soon their mischievous friends, Merry and Pippin, join them, but they are already being hunted. The ring-wraiths, terrifying servants of Sauron, pursue them relentlessly. The four hobbits flee through dark forests, hiding from the shadowy riders. Their escape leads them to the town of Bree, where they are meant to meet Gandalf. But the wizard is nowhere to be found. Instead, they encounter a mysterious ranger called Strider. He is no ordinary wanderer. His true name is Aragorn, and he carries the legacy of ancient kings. With Gandalf missing, Aragorn takes responsibility for the hobbits' safety, guiding them toward Rivendell, the home of the elves. However, their journey is filled with peril. One night, at the ruins of Weathertop, the ring-wraiths finally catch up. Frodo, overwhelmed by the ring's power, tries to use it, but the wraiths attack. One of them stabs him with a Morgul blade, a cursed weapon that threatens to turn him into a wraith himself. His wound is grave, and time is running out. Now, Aragorn must get Frodo to Rivendell before it is too late. The fate of Middle-earth has begun to shift, and a great journey lies ahead. With Frodo gravely wounded, Aragorn and the hobbits press forward, racing against time. The Morgul blade's curse spreads through Frodo's body, threatening to turn him into a wraith. They are pursued relentlessly by the ring-wraiths. But just as hope seems lost, an elven figure appears, Arwen, daughter of Lord Elrond. Seeing Frodo's dire state, she takes him onto her horse and rides with unmatched speed toward Rivendell. The wraiths chase her across the plains, their eerie cries piercing the air. As she reaches the ford of Bruinen, she calls upon the power of the river, summoning a mighty flood that sweeps the wraiths away. With the danger momentarily gone, she rushes Frodo to Rivendell, where Elrond uses his ancient healing abilities to save him. Frodo awakens in the peaceful halls of Rivendell, where he is reunited with his friends. Gandalf is there, revealing that he was delayed by Saruman, the head of his order, who has betrayed them and allied with Sauron. Saruman is raising an army of orcs in the fortress of Isengard, preparing for war. In Rivendell, a great council is held. Elves, dwarves, and men gather to decide the ring's fate. Boromir, a noble warrior of Gondor, argues that they should use the ring as a weapon, but Gandalf warns that its power corrupts all who wield it. The elf Lord Elrond declares that the ring must be destroyed, but only in the fires of Mount Doom. In Mordor, no army can carry out such a mission. Instead, Frodo, despite his fear, steps forward and offers to take the ring. Moved by his bravery, others pledge their support. Aragorn, Boromir, Legolas the elf, Gimli the dwarf, and of course, his loyal hobbit friends. Gandalf himself will guide them. Together, they form the Fellowship of the Ring. With little time to waste, the Fellowship sets out on their dangerous journey. Ahead of them lie mountains, darkness, and enemies beyond imagination. But they have each other, and for now, hope remains. Their adventure has truly begun. The Fellowship of the Ring sets out from Rivendell, venturing into the wild lands of Middle-earth. Their path is treacherous, with Saruman's spies tracking their every move. As they journey through the misty mountains, they attempt to cross the Pass of Caradhras, but Saruman, using his dark magic, summons a violent storm, forcing them to turn back. With no other choice, they must take a more dangerous route, through the mines of Moria. At the entrance, they find the ancient doors, sealed and inscribed with elvish runes. Gandalf deciphers the riddle, and as the doors open, an unseen horror lurks beneath the water. Suddenly, a monstrous tentacled creature, the Watcher in the Water, attacks, forcing the Fellowship to flee inside as the entrance collapses behind them. Now, there is no turning back. Inside Moria, the darkness is overwhelming. The air is thick with dust, and the once great halls of the dwarves lie in ruin. Gimli, filled with hope, believes they will find his kin alive, but reality is cruel. They discover Balin's tomb. His people were slaughtered by orcs. A sense of dread falls upon them, but before they can leave, Pippin accidentally knocks a skeleton into a well, echoing loudly through the chambers. The sound awakens the deep dwellers of Moria. A deafening roar is followed by the pounding of drums in the deep. The Fellowship is under attack. A horde of orcs and a monstrous cave troll descend upon them. In the fierce battle, Frodo is struck down by the troll's spear, but miraculously survives, thanks to the mithril armor hidden beneath his clothes. They fight their way forward, but something far worse stirs in the depths of Moria. Gandalf senses it, a presence of unspeakable power. As they flee across the bridge of Khazad-dûm, a massive shadow emerges, the Balrog, a demon of fire and darkness. The Fellowship runs, but Gandalf turns to face the beast. With his staff in hand, he confronts the monster. "You shall not pass," he declares, shattering the bridge beneath the Balrog. But as it falls, it lashes its fiery whip, pulling Gandalf down with it. The Fellowship watches in horror as their guide and friend is lost to the abyss. Heartbroken, they escape into the light of day, but their journey is far from over. The Fellowship emerges from the darkness of Moria, their hearts heavy with grief. Gandalf, their guide and protector, is gone. Frodo and the others are in shock, but Aragorn takes command, urging them to move forward. Though sorrow lingers, their journey cannot end here. They travel through the woods, entering the golden realm of Lothlorien, the land of the elves. There, they are welcomed by Lady Galadriel and Lord Celeborn. Lothlorien is unlike any place they have seen. Its trees shimmer with silver and gold, and an air of deep magic fills the land. Here, they find a brief moment of peace, but Galadriel sees into their hearts and speaks to each of them, revealing their fears and desires. She warns Frodo that his burden will only grow heavier. To his surprise, she offers him a vision in her mirror, a glimpse of a dark future where Middle-earth falls into ruin should he fail. Before they depart, Galadriel gives each member of the Fellowship a gift. To Frodo, she entrusts the light of Eärendil, a phial containing the light of a star to guide him in the darkest places. With renewed strength, they set off once more, following the river Anduin. But all is not well. The weight of the ring begins to take its toll on Boromir. He struggles with temptation, believing the ring could save his people and bring victory against Sauron. As the Fellowship rests in the woods near Path Galen, Boromir finally succumbs. He confronts Frodo, demanding the ring. When Frodo refuses, Boromir's desperation turns to anger. Frodo slips the ring onto his finger and vanishes, escaping into the forest. Realizing his mistake, Boromir is overcome with shame, but the damage is done. Frodo now understands that the ring's power will corrupt even the strongest hearts. He makes a painful choice. He must leave the Fellowship behind and continue the journey alone. As he prepares to depart, Sam finds him at the water's edge. True to his promise, Sam refuses to let Frodo go alone. Together, they take a small boat and cross the river heading toward Mordor. Meanwhile, disaster strikes. A band of Uruk-hai sent by Saruman ambushes the Fellowship. In a desperate battle, Boromir fights bravely to protect Merry and Pippin, but is mortally wounded. The hobbits are captured and taken away. Aragorn finds Boromir in his final moments. With his dying breath, he repents, calling Aragorn his king. The Fellowship is broken. Frodo and Sam go to Mordor. Merry and Pippin are taken by the enemy. Aragorn, Legolas, and Gimli vow to rescue them. Their paths have split, but the fight is far from over. The great journey continues. The Fellowship is no more. Frodo and Sam have set off alone toward Mordor, while Merry and Pippin have been captured by Saruman's Uruk-hai. But all hope is not lost. Aragorn, Legolas, and Gimli refuse to abandon their friends. Wasting no time, they set off in pursuit, racing across the vast plains of Rohan. The Uruk-hai march relentlessly, dragging the hobbits toward Isengard. Merry and Pippin, though frightened, remain defiant. They realize that Saruman seeks them because of the ring, but they do not have it. As they near the forest of Fangorn, chaos erupts. Riders of Rohan, led by Éomer, attack the Uruk-hai, cutting them down in the night. Seizing the moment, Merry and Pippin escape, fleeing into the ancient woods. Meanwhile, Aragorn and his companions track their movements. They encounter Éomer and his Rohirrim, who inform them that the Uruk-hai were slaughtered. Hope flickers. Perhaps the hobbits survived? Their only clue leads them into Fangorn Forest, a place of mystery and legend. There, they encounter an impossible sight. Gandalf, returned from the dead. No longer Gandalf the Grey, he is now Gandalf the White, reborn with greater power. He reveals that he battled the Balrog deep into the heart of the earth before finally vanquishing it. His time was not yet over. He was sent back to Middle-earth to complete his mission. With Gandalf's return, a new purpose is set before them. Saruman is gathering forces, preparing to strike at the kingdom of Rohan. The group rides swiftly to Edoras, the capital of Rohan, where they find King Theoden under a dark spell. Saruman, working through his servant Grima Wormtongue, has weakened the king's spirit, leaving Rohan defenseless. But Gandalf is not so easily defeated. With his power, he breaks Saruman's hold over Theoden, restoring the king's strength. Theoden, once weary and broken, now stands tall. He orders his people to prepare to ride to war. The battle for Rohan is coming. As the kingdom prepares for war, the fate of Middle-earth hangs in the balance. With King Theoden freed from Saruman's influence, Rohan stirs from its slumber. But there is no time for celebration. War is upon them. Gandalf urges Theoden to prepare for battle, but the king, mourning the loss of his son, instead chooses to lead his people to Helm's Deep, an ancient fortress where they might find safety. Aragorn, Legolas, and Gimli stand by him, ready to fight. Meanwhile, Saruman's forces grow stronger. From his tower at Isengard, he commands an army of Uruk-hai, bred for war. His plan is clear: Rohan must fall. But Saruman's reach extends beyond armies. He has also sent spies to follow Frodo and Sam, who continue their perilous journey toward Mordor. The two hobbits struggle through harsh lands, with little food and even less hope. But they are not alone. A shadow follows them. Gollum, the twisted creature once corrupted by the ring. Desperate to reclaim his precious, Gollum sneaks upon them, but Frodo, sensing his torment, spares his life. Instead of killing him, Frodo tames him, making him their guide. Gollum, bound by a strange loyalty, leads them toward Mordor's secret path, but Sam does not trust him. He sees the darkness still lurking in Gollum's heart. As Frodo and Sam follow Gollum deeper into enemy lands, another story unfolds. Merry and Pippin, having escaped the Uruk-hai, find refuge in Fangorn Forest, where they meet Treebeard, an ancient Ent. The Ents, guardians of the forest, have long remained neutral in the affairs of Middle-earth. But as Merry and Pippin reveal the destruction Saruman has caused, Treebeard and his kin begin to stir. A decision must be made. Will they go to war? Back in Rohan, Aragorn senses a darkness creeping closer. As the people march toward Helm's Deep, he sees a vision of what is to come. Fire, death, and despair. The armies of Isengard are moving. Soon, battle will begin. Meanwhile, Frodo's burden grows heavier. The ring whispers to him, calling for him to submit. In his heart, he feels the weight of all that is at stake. Mordor looms ahead. The journey is far from over. The War of the Ring has begun,